Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video. So, I've just done a controversial video that probably a lot of people are going to hate, but who cares? This one I'm going to talk about Divination, okay? Now, they kind of tie together, but they don't really, although they do. It's weird, right? I'll explain it. I'm not going to call this a priority list, right? Because, honestly, Divination sucks, right? Let's just be frank. There's very few units within the Divination pool who are actually worthwhile going for. Can we just stop pretending that that's not the case? Because it is, right? They're booty cheeks. Plain and simple, they're mid-tier units that are hard to get. There's very few of them that I would actually recommend going out of your way to actually pick up, okay? You're better off waiting, saving up, trying to get special summon tickets, using your Divination tickets to level up your special summon units, that type of thing, because most of the Divination units are not going to do squat for you, right? That is just it. We're going to talk about the ones that I think do, right? 3 of them I'm just going to put on the board straight away because I've said this for the longest time, right? There is 3 top, good quality support units that I've always said that should be top priority for Divination, okay? And that is going to be Gen, that is going to be Athlete Chun-Li, and that is going to be Rose, okay? Now, what I will say though is the order that I would put these in has changed somewhat, okay? I would say that that would be the order that I would recommend picking these units up in, okay? For the sheer ability to block V Vega, Athlete Chun-Li is number 1. Apart from that, she's a very solid unit as well. She's not just all about blocking V Vega, she gives you some really solid buffs, right? Really good unit, good healing, top unit, no denial there, go for her, okay? With Rose, you're getting some great healing, some great buffing. She's buffing crit rate damage. You don't need to build her, but she is buffing up crit rate damage. She's definitely a unit that I do recommend highly. Again, I like Gen, right? But I mean, Gen, over the fullness of time, probably hasn't turned out to be quite as good as I had hoped he would be. But he's still a very good unit, and he's still one of the ones that I would say I would prioritise when it comes to Divination summoning, okay? But where things have changed, I guess, somewhat, apart from one unit, is one unit I'm really upgrading, okay? Now, Sagat is a unit I've always said it's worthwhile getting from the Divination pool, okay? He is very tanky, there's a lot of damage, he's got that indomitable, that do not die thing, right? Unfortunately, it's susceptible to the same type of things that Bison would be susceptible to. By the way, base Bison I would put on here, but who's not built base Bison? I mean, really, I don't think you need someone on a priority list to tell you that base Bison should be a priority, because realistically, I genuinely think most people would finish building him before they would start looking at any other units anyway. So it's a bit redundant really for me to talk about him here, so I'm not gonna, right? But Sagat, definitely a good solid unit, right? He can definitely help out. He can help out somewhat with the new Bison. Depends on the team that you're facing though, because if Sagat succumbs to death, which he can do, then he's not really doing much for you in that regard, okay? So, there is 2 units. Now, there might be more. I can't really remember. I've looked, and if there is somebody I'm missing, someone can tell me in the comments down below. But with the new Bison, I'll be frank with you, there's a new meta sitting there on the table that's getting ready to explode, right? It's going to happen. If you're ahead of the game, then you've got an advantage, right? One of the units that can help you with that is Hugo. Not only is Hugo tanky, very tanky, when he's got 35 stacks of his wrestling champion thing, or whatever the hell it's called, he will get the ability that first time he takes fatal damage, he will get 1 HP and he can't die for 8 seconds, okay? Now that might not sound like a big deal to a lot of people, but that's pretty much a guaranteed Bison revival, okay? Because most of the time when you take that kind of damage, it's going to be from an AoE attack, most of the time. So that probably means Bison's taking a big whole chunk of damage by himself, okay? So if you've still got your characters alive, which that 1 HP gimmick does, he's still alive, he's going to pop again. It's going to give you the chance to essentially keep going, okay? So obviously if you've got more than one of those units, that is a great potential benefit. Now, the unit who I now actually think is the best Divination unit, and I thought this before Bison, if you've noticed my videos lately, you'll notice that I've been running this guy a lot. If you are in my battle zone, you'll notice that I do use him in a lot of teams. I'm very fond of this unit. It is this guy, okay? And it just so happens that this guy is also almost key to really taking advantage of the new Bison. If you have got this guy on a team, not only is he providing healing, he's doing good damage, he's got that mechanic where he can't drop below 1 HP, he is like the perfect partner for the new Bison. Hands down, 100%. And for that reason, I say that he is your number one priority. 100%, no questions asked. He is the top priority for special summoning, for divination summons. If you've got Bison. I mean, if you've not got Bison, I don't think he's necessarily number one priority. I would put Athlete Chun-Li as number one priority, right? But see, as soon as you've finished Athlete Chun-Li, even if you don't have new Bison, go and get Trendy Ryu. Because Trendy Ryu is a goddamn godsend of a unit. He is a fantastic unit. He's a clutch unit. He's tanky as hell. He does great damage. But there's nothing that to not like about this unit. He is chef's kiss, right? He's so good. Then when you get yourself a Bison, this guy is just going to go on to his team, and the two of them go together like peanut butter and jelly. They're just the perfect combination because his whole gimmick feeds in to his whole gimmick. They just go together and they gel together so well. And I just feel like if you are planning your account properly, if you are thinking to the future, right, you want to build this, because ultimately they've built this new Bison in such a way that they're going to have to introduce a new gimmick, right? Now, right now, there seems to be something, I still think it's a bug, right, where if you stun the new Bison, you can kill him, right? But that doesn't make any sense. If you read his kit, that shouldn't be happening, right? Because if that was the case, then if simply stunning a unit disabled their passive, you could do that to every unit in the game who has a passive. You could stun base Bison and then just kill him, but you can't, right? So there's clearly still a bug with Bison, right? So I'm not taking that as actually you're supposed to be able to do that. They'll probably fix that at some point, right? But they'll need to introduce a new mechanic. So unless they introduce a mechanic to the game that is essentially going to be what Zangief does, but as an AoE, which they might do, that team is going to thrive for a long time, because even with units like Zangief, like I said in the previous video, anyone with half a brain who's good at team building, they will not have this new Bison as the front row unit. You don't need them to, okay? With base Bison, you want him at the front so that he takes the damage and he pops off, okay? But new Bison has got damage sharing as part of his kit. He doesn't need to be at the front. He is going to pop just by other people on the team taking damage, okay? So you can have him in slot 2 or slot 3. In fact, I highly recommend it, right? So someone trying to take in a Zangief to take you out, okay, it's going to be extremely difficult. Especially in things like Showdown, because they're not in control, okay? Sure, in modes where they can control the game manually, they might be able to time it to actually disable your passive, right? But let's be honest, those modes are insignificant. They are. I mean, if you're getting hung up about Arena, I'm sorry, Arena's not really doing anything. You're not getting much out of Arena. The modes where you're going to get things, it's going to be Battle Royale, it's going to be Showdown, it's going to be I suppose HWA you can attack manually, right? But you've got 7 days of that. If people are going to figure out your team, they're going to figure out your team. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? And I'll test it. I'll have my team sitting there. I'm going to try and just leave my team sitting there for the entire time. And to be honest, I've nearly finished building Wrestler Hugo. By that point, I'll have 3 units in my team that cannot drop below 1 HP. plus I'll have Bison. That team is going to be insanely impossible to kill, right? Someone might figure it out. I highly doubt it though, right? But if you build Ryu now, straight up, if you focus on Ryu, if you get Ryu done, then by the time you roll along and you get your Bison fully built and your Bison done, they're not going to be crept out of the game. It's not going to be a case of there's this new fancy team that's come along and just eradicated this team. This team is going to stay strong, possibly for the duration. The only way it won't stay strong for the duration is if they do introduce some mechanic where some team or unit can bypass that do not drop below 1 HP. But if that happens, we're really venturing into convoluted territory, okay? If that happens, then essentially they're building themselves into a corner where they're basically saying, we've introduced mechanics to this game, we shouldn't have done that, we're now going to bring in these new mechanics to wipe out those mechanics. It gets really messy if they do that, so I don't see them doing that. They might do an AoE unit that disables passives, right? I feel like that's a bit strong if they do that, but they might do it. We'll need to wait and see. But even then, that unit would only be able to go on one team. So having that team with the centre point being this Ryu and also that Bison, you're not going to go wrong. 100% you're not going to go wrong. So I would say as a rule of thumb, assuming that you have Bison, right? Assuming that you have Bison, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say if you're a player who has Bison, you probably already have Athlete Chun done. So if I was you, I would next up be building Trendy Ryu and then Wrestler Hugo. That's what I would be doing. If you've not got Bison yet, you might still not have Athlete Chun done. Build her first, then move on to do Trendy Ryu. And then if you're planning to go for Bison, I would definitely next up do Wrestler Hugo. Honestly, out with that, I feel like the rest of the Divination pool's chaff, right? Sakura's alright. I mean, yeah. The problem is with a lot of these Divination units though, they're not, when we're talking DPS units, because they don't have soul power, they're not punching to that next level that's really making them must-have units. To me, you would be better spent just using your Divination tokens to finish off your special summons, get your Regal Hondas up to 5-star, get your Vegas up to 5-star. I would do that before I would go for any of these mid-tier units. From the actual entire pool, this is all I would really care about. Other than that, I would just sit in your tickets. That's my opinion, shoot me all you want. At the end of the day, you don't need to do what I say. You're free to disagree. In fact, I like it when you disagree, it's good for the algorithm. You can boost up my engagement, I don't give a shit. But I think if you use your tickets in a lot of these units, you'll be disappointed. Whereas if you've got an idea in your head, you know what you're going for, you're building towards the future, because you know the next piece of the puzzle is going to be that Bison. Or you're thinking, I need to counter Vega, so you're building your Athlete Chun-Li. These are things that you are putting the building blocks down to make your account better in the future, rather than saying, oh, this new shiny unit came out, I'm going to go and summon them. You know? The argument could be made that Zeph's good because Zeph has got things like Interrupt in his kit and stuff like that, right? Okay, maybe he could get a spot on this list. But for me, I don't think he's it, right? But that's just my opinion. I'm not that mad keen on the unit, so that's why I'm not putting him on here. But I'm comfortable with this, I'm confident in this, and I know it's only 6 units, but I think, honestly, if you've got all these guys done, just sit on your Divination tokens. Just sit on your Divination tokens, then the next time a special summon unit comes along and you hit that SSS rank with them, you can just rush to SSS 5 because you're sitting on a boatload of Divination tokens. And anyone who's sitting just now laughing at you and thinking, oh, you're holding all these tickets, I've got this new unit to double S rank, or I've got this new unit to triple S rank, they'll not be laughing when you pull the new special summon unit and you day one race through and get them all the way to SSS 5. Because at the end of the day, there's no point in summoning mid-tier crap. You're better off just sitting with your tickets, using them for something in the future that's stronger, better, and it's going to help you progress and push things like scoreboard, like new levels and stages, like PvP, rather than just, oh look, I've got the new shiny. That's the problem. Most of these people have all the new shinies, but they have them at SS, S, A+. What use is that to anyone, right? So that's my opinion. That's what you should do. Also, you might have missed the boat on this, but if any of these units show up in those shops where you can exchange for them, don't go for resources. Get these units, because it means you've got to summon them less in the future. They're going to be usable quicker, faster, and they'll start to make an impact on your account. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Agree, don't agree, who gives a fuck? Catch you in the next one. Peace out. See you later. Goodbye.